This is the Testosterone Podcast with Noel, Keith, and Steve. And now, brace yourself for greatness.
And welcome to episode 27 of the Testosterone Podcast. I'm here with my buds, Noel and Steve. Guys, how you doing?
Good to be back with you guys.
Welcome back. Hey, everybody.
Well, let me tell you, today is a very special episode and one that we have been waiting for since we started this gig. So I want to turn it over to Steve. This is really how we got together as cohesive three of us about last year and started a really cool deal. And so, Steve, I want to turn this over to you. I want you to tell the story of what we're about to introduce for the next few weeks.
Sure, absolutely. So as our listeners may recall, the three of us went to Texas Tech University, and we were in the marching band. And during our time at Tech, we became pretty avid sports fans. And even while we were there, they had the sports program had some successes. The men's basketball team won a couple of conference championships, had an NCAA appearance. And that's when Darvin Ham broke the backboard. The women's basketball team was a perennial powerhouse and won the 93 national championship. The baseball team had a conference championship while we were there, and our football even had a few bright spots. The football team has a few bright spots, which included Cotton Bowl appearance, a couple other bowl appearances as well. But while we
appeared,
well,
that was about it. The Cotton Bowl.
I wouldn't talk about that Cotton Bowl too
far. I'm going to dig into that a little bit more to further build what I'm about to talk about here, but.
Exactly. Good point.
While we're proud of, our school's overall sports success, I think ultimately we really want to have a football team we're proud of, right?
And we want to have a football team that we can actually feel has a chance.
Well, I think it's just, it provides happiness. Like you don't want things in your life that suck.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like you want something that lifts you up and makes you happy. And I got to be honest, sometimes a college football team can really ruin a good weekend. So we were trying to find a way to kind of break that chain if we could. We were just kind of looking for a pick me up, kind of lay around.
Before we
misery that's been.
Before we get too far into that, I got to build a case so our listeners understand why we are the way we are with our football team, because. You'll never understand unless you went to school at Texas Tech and wore our shoes that it's not easy to be a Tech fan. Matter of fact, it's almost impossible to be a Tech fan, because just as they start to get your spirits up and get your hopes alive, then they just knock the block out from underneath you and immediately you're humbled again as a Texas Tech fan.
True.
So I'll give some examples. So I mentioned the 95 Cotton Bowl. Keith, it had been 50 years since we were previously in the Cotton Bowl when we played the 95 Bowl?
It's close to it.
So, as a fan base, we were excited to play in the Cotton Bowl. It was a big deal. It was hopefully indication that there were some bigger things coming for our football program. And so we played USC Trojans in that game. And after having a successful season, we're playing a traditional powerhouse team in a historic Cotton Bowl. And we managed to lose that game 55-14. And honestly, looking back, I have no idea how we scored 14 points. And in that game, Keyshawn Johnson was a wide receiver for them, now a Hall of Famer, had 8 catches, 222 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and ultimately crushed our spirits as Tech football fans. And 3 of us were there for that game. We lived that pain in person, and it was brutal.
A lot of pain.
Very long game.
Yes.
Very long game.
Yeah, I think the last, I'm looking at history here. Before that, it looks like the last time we had gone to the Cotton Bowl was in 1939.
Yeah. Ooh.
We lost 20-13 to St. Mary's.
Oh man, they were a powerhouse back in 1939. Man.
That's right. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think we won.
Oh no, I lied. Yeah, that was it. That was the last one. Yeah, crazy.
So
we don't want to.
Let's fast forward.
If you go every single year, it kind of gets old. So they wanted to stretch them out, and make it special.
Yeah, they really did a good. Yeah, they really wanted to be impactful.
Yeah.
Good for them.
So let's fast forward 13 years. Mike Leach had led Tech to the number 2 ranking in the country. We had just beat the University of Texas, which was the number 1 ranked team at the time we beat them. And we're starting to seriously think that Tech might actually have a chance to win a national championship in our lifetime. And we thought
2008.
This could possibly happen. Yep. So we're living the high of just being UT number 2 in the country, never been ranked that high in football history. And we played a game the following week against the University of Oklahoma. And in true Tech fashion, we managed to lose that game 65-21. And I remember watching that with some Longhorn and Aggie buddies, and couldn't look anybody in the face when that game was over. We ended up barely beating Baylor in the following week, and then played again in the Cotton Bowl, where we played Ole Miss and lost that game in the high scoring affair. So at this point, we're 0-3 in our Cotton Bowl appearances. And I forgot we're 0-4 because we played Alabama in the Cotton Bowl, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
sure did.
Yeah, so
we lost that on a last-second field goal that hit the bottom crossbar and went in.
That was 2006, 13-10. Yep, it was. I remember that as the last play of the game.
For that too,
the ugliest field goal you ever saw. But anyway, we finished that season number 8 ranking, which is nothing to be sorry about. But we ended that season so roughly that it was sort of disappointing for us all. And then, of course, following season, Tech fired Mike Leach, who was probably the best coach we ever had. We since then have struggled through a couple seasons with Tommy Tuberville as a coach. We've hired and fired, numerous defensive coordinators. We've seen high caliber crews decommit year after year, and now we're in season number 6 with a still improving head coach and guy that was former quarterback for Tech, Cliff Kingsbury. So
it's really a favorite guy too. I mean, people really like. I mean, we like him.
Exactly.
We want him to win.
Yeah,
we
please
do.
soon.
I don't think there's anybody that does not like Cliff and want him to win. We really do.
So having gone through all this as Tech fans, we're a pretty jaded bunch. We're frustrated. We're mentally just exhausted during football seasons because quite honestly, we just want to have a team we're proud of again. As Noel says, we're tired of sucking. And so we really we decided that it was probably mentally best for us to lower our expectations. We really did this last season, and we went to
So let me interject here, Steve, because every season, what was the one phrase that you and I would say?
Cautiously optimistic.
We were cautiously optimistic about this year.
Yeah,
that is very important to know for that segment.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Absolutely. So we came up with a phrase that as we lowered our expectations, and we decided that, hey, look, we're just not going to let college age kids ruin our football weekend. So hopefully we win. If we don't win, it's okay. We don't expect to win anymore. So now we're cautiously pessimistic, and so I'm throwing the quote signs in the air. So no longer cautiously optimistic, we're cautiously pessimistic. And
cautiously pessimistic.
And I'll be honest with you, since we did that, my weekends aren't ruined anymore. And I can actually just watch football game to watch football game, and I thought the approach worked pretty well.
I did too.
It was fun. Yeah. I still celebrated when Tech won, and I was excited, but I also didn't have my weekend ruined when they didn't. And because then I was like, well, let's see what the other guys are doing. It was fun, and it was fun to know that we each picked a different one. We'll go through the details of this later, but then we could each follow each other's too. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. We learned a lot about each of the teams and stuff too. We learned a lot more about college football and the traditions and stuff, and really the traditions and the history and stuff of these different colleges is what makes college football what it is. You know what I mean?
So awesome. Yeah.
So
that was
and that was fun because that was one of our goals, right, Steve? So go ahead, tell us about the kind of the way.
So as we changed our approach and we became cautiously pessimistic, we also started to fantasize about, golly, what would it be like to root for a school that's always going to be a national powerhouse, a perennial contender for a football championship, and what would it like to be one of those fans? And so we decided, hey, look, if we're gonna just not really give up on Tech, isn't okay if we just go and pick a backup school just in case. And so, no, I know, you picked the winner from last season, so I want you to sort of take it the rest of the way.
Yeah. So, and we really struggled. I think the three of us. I know I did. I struggled with the whole idea of, more or less sort of adopting another team as one of our own, and so. Because I'm a loyal Tech fan. I'm red and black all the way, and it's not about turning our back on Tech or anything like that. It's
Not at
really
all.
just, you know what, I have my primary team. It will always be Tech, but I want to have somebody else that I can cheer for too, and and pull for them, and basically not basically, but be a fan of theirs, and keep up with their team just like I do Tech, and know about their coach, know about their players, know about their schedule, who they're playing, who they're coming up, what the latest, just kind of keeping up with the team throughout the year. So the three of us at the beginning of last year, just basically, we picked the team that we were going to support, like our backup team, or our this team that we were just basically going to follow for the year through the college football season. And we all three picked different teams. They were all from different, initially at least, they were from different conferences too. And what we did is we kind of talked about, or we studied the schools and their traditions, and their mascots, and kind of what their pregame rituals are. And I think like Keith's team initially was Washington, and they had.
Yeah.
Can you remember some of the stuff that they did?
Oh yeah. No, my favorite. I was talking about this today at lunch because we were talking about that we were going to do this podcast today with some guys that are listening to it. And Washington Huskies was the team that I picked last year, and I thought the coolest tradition that they had was, most schools have a tailgating, and what they do is, since their stadium is right up against a bay, of water, they have sailgating where they bring their boats up and tailgate on their boats. And I'm like, that is the coolest thing. I mean, I'm here landlocked in Texas, I'm like, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard of, So that's just a really, really cool tradition. So, that was the fun of this is, again, like Noel said, I love Tech. I am a Red Raider. I bleed scarlet and black, but it's kind of fun to learn about different schools all the more. And there are some perennial powerhouses, and it's kind of fun to learn about them, In Washington, I can't say has been a perennial powerhouse, but in the last couple of years, they've really come up. I like their coach. So it was a fun one to follow. So, yeah. So Steve, what about you? What did you learn?
Well,
and
of course, we had a rule early on that it was okay to change your team. And I was shameless in taking advantage of that, because I originally started with Ohio State, who, by the way, has some great traditions, great marching band, some well-noted alumni, Bob Hope, Jack Nicklaus. And so, there's a lot of neat things. But if y'all recall, I believe Ohio State either won or lost their season opener, or the second week they lost. And so it put me on the fence with them, and then they really struggled. And so I jumped over to Florida State for a little bit, and then they immediately lost. And so I'm beginning to think that maybe the reason why Tech sucks is because I root for them. And and then I ended up jumping on the Georgia bandwagon, and they ended up going into the college football playoff system and all that stuff. And so I started to feel better about the fact that it's not me. But I ironically, I had visited the Georgia campus the previous summer and to see a sister and brother-in-laws, and so it was a chance for us to see their campus and to see that stadium, and the hedges that are around the football field and all that stuff. Just a neat place, and so I had a little bit of attachment to the fact that I had visited there, and they had a great season, so I took full credit for their success because of it. But no, I mean, the thing that was neat about this is to Keith's point is, we got to learn these schools, and so we felt like we weren't just total jumping on the bandwagon. And so we felt like we had a little more, I guess, skin in the game, and a little more stake in how we picked our schools. And so it was a lot of fun. And, kudos to Noel. He picked Alabama from the very beginning. And you're still wearing that Alabama hat, Noel?
I mean, you really reached out there with your.
No, we were talking about it, like, when I'm looking at the landscape of college football and you want to pick a team that's most likely to win, well, Alabama seemed like an obvious pick, so I picked them and stuck with them, which was fun. I mean, like I said, I got to cheer on the team that ended up winning the whole thing. I got to admit, though, it's sort of one of those teams that you kind of like want to win, but you're kind of like, okay, somebody else should win. You know what I mean? Like the like the Patriots.
It's been around long enough. Time for a new
time for a new champion. Let somebody else win already. So, but I learned like what the Crimson Tide meant and everything, and it was interesting as we talked about some of these college teams and stuff. We learned that a lot of the things, like the Red Raiders as an example, and the Crimson Tide is the same. Both of those phrases originated from sports writers. The Crimson Tide came from an article that was written in one of the Birmingham newspapers about the 1907 Iron Bowl played between, of course, Auburn and Alabama, and it was really it was played in a sea of red mud, which was staining the Alabama white jerseys crimson. It's kind of like a crimson color, and the headline for the article was Crimson Tide. It's Tied, and that the name kind of stuck. So and then of course Red Raiders and stuff, and the story of that came too from a sports writer that was writing about their red jerseys and how he made a comment that seeing them running down the field in all those red jerseys looked like a bunch of Red Raiders coming towards the other team, and that name stuck. And so it was kind of interesting from that standpoint to kind of, because I never would have, I wouldn't have had any other reason really to kind of research and learn about these other schools and stuff. So it was kind of fun to kind of learn a little bit more about these other colleges out there and stuff. But anyway, yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed following the teams. I enjoyed, cheering for Alabama and watching them beat the crap out of people, and just wishing, man, I wished I could face up against a good team like that and know like that you're gonna put 50 or 60 points on somebody in a game, and that was a pretty cool feeling, honestly. So
awesome. Yeah,
but it's sort of funny.
Yeah, it was fun. We enjoyed it.
It was funny. I was telling Keith and Noel a couple of days back that I read some article recently about Tech and seen some of the players are stepping up in practice and everything, and starting to get a little excited about Tech football, and well, maybe we won't be as bad as I think we're going to be. And so I started to adopt a cautiously optimistic approach, and then but I'm going to let
get you every year, bro.
Every year, right? And but cautiously pessimistic is the healthy approach to this. So Keith, we're going to do it again this season, right?
Absolutely. And this was the time where last year we're keeping this to ourselves. Yeah. Okay. But apparently now we're introducing it because we just did it. So
well, I got to tell you, I had a lot happier college football season last year doing this. I mean, and it was like, hey, well, Tech didn't play so good today, but Alabama beat the crap out of somebody, and so it kind of balanced itself out. But no, I really thoroughly enjoyed college football last year. It was a lot of fun. So
it was a lot of fun. And again, this is not dogging our college. I love it. I hope they kick butt this year. I really do. And like you say, Steve, the stuff that I see on, the Twitter posts that they do and some of the marketing they're doing, I hope that things are awesome for them. I really want them to have a good season. Kingsbury needs a good season. I want them to have a great season, and everybody seems pretty optimistic. So that'll be good. And so if we can have a win-win where they have a killer season, and then some of our teams that we also root for have a good season, it's good. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it. So doesn't mean we're not loyal. We're just trying to mix it up a little bit and learn about other places. And I'm planning on doing a different school this year than I did last year.
I am.
So, but I think that's going to be my challenge. Is each year I'm going to try to do a different school just so I can learn about somebody.
Yeah.
Well, so basically the structure of this is we pick our schools, we research the heck out of them, and then we kind of text message who our teams are going to be, to where we don't really tell each other until we have our official announcement. That's right. Is that so? Are we going to do that this year? Are we going to do it on our Instagram page or our Twitter page? Should we announce our teams through that?
Man, yeah, I think we should.
So I think we should do that. And so what are we going to go with one? Like, I'm going to call it a mulligan. So like if we choose poorly, so are we still going to stick with that to where we have a mulligan?
Yeah.
Is that, are we just doing one mulligan, or are we going domino effect until
I'm going to keep on picking until I get right?
I get to use my mulligans from last year that I never used, right?
No.
So I get like 5.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, Noel's 5 teams behind me. That's right.
That's right. So how many did you do, Steve, last
I'm
year?
pretty sure I had 4. Ohio
lot.
State, Florida State. There was somebody I picked before I finally jumped on the Georgia bandwagon. It may have been
Somebody did Miami, didn't they?
no.
Did nobody do Miami?
No.
Okay, so because I did Washington, and then I did Penn State and Clemson, I think.
Yeah.
And then Noel didn't have to do squat, but stayed with Alabama.
He had it easy.
So.
I know.
He had it easy. So are we going to just say we keep bouncing until we're done, or are we saying we do 1 or 2 mulligans?
I say we just do it till we're done. Just keep on bouncing around. That was to me the joy of.
That was fun, and that way you could just keep it going.
Yeah.
Didn't end up with a team that started off 4-0 and then ended up 4-12 or something for the year.
So okay, that's fair enough. So we are going to do a research.
So we'll announce our team soon.
Yeah. So we should. What should we do? Should we announce our teams? This podcast obviously is going live Monday to Monday night, and then so we've got another week. So how are we gonna do it? When are we gonna do it?
Let's go and announce them on the next episode, and then we'll post it as well on Twitter and Instagram. Okay, fair enough. And so Twitter. And so from there we're gonna kind of come up with some competitions to involve other people to bring them in too. So next week, I like that. Yeah, next week we will kind of discuss how other people can join us on this and start their own groups. Now, here's where it's going to get tricky. So, can anybody have the same team?
Yeah. Ooh, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Oh, well, between the 3 of us, probably no. But I think if a listener wants to join one of us, then I think that's probably okay.
Okay. So then you go like the Team Steve or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. Or they can branch out on their own, right? So
sure, of course.
That's awesome. So we can do some polls. We can with this. I think this is going to be a really interactive fall season, and so I'm looking forward to this. It'll be fun. So
I have too.
So cautiously.
Yeah, I'm thinking about our friends and coworkers, stuff like that. Like when schools like Baylor or SMU or Houston, schools like that perennially suck like we do.
Longhorns.
And so I'm sure they're going to be all over this. They should be at least.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, man.
I think so too.
I was. Have you guys? Did y'all watch? Not to change the subject, but did you guys watch the Shark Week?
I did not. So tell me about it.
No, it was pretty cool. I learned something new though. Do you know? Did you ever know? Do you know why scuba divers fall backwards into the water? I didn't know this before. I didn't know this before I watched the Shark Week.
I don't guess I know either. So because if they fell forwards, they'd still be in the boat.
And
it's begun.
Yes. Silky segue by Noel Kirsch.
That was a good one.
How'd you guys go?
So speaking of football, do you know where football players go shopping during the off season?
Where do football players go shopping in the off
season? Gosh,
I don't know.
I'm so glad you don't know this. The tackle shop.
Oh my gosh,
that's pretty good. Because they're football players, and football players tackle.
Tackle makes sense to me. Yeah. So, what did the fungus say when he got caught in a tight space?
No idea. I have no idea.
I don't have much room.
Oh, that's good.
That's funny. I like that.
I gotta say, I missed this part.
I did too.
It still makes my blood.
Still my favorite.
Makes my blood pressure go up by 100 points, but I love it.
It's just adrenaline, man. No big deal.
We get to dumb down our jokes so Louisiana can get them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I should have said something beside fungus.
Oh man,
Louisiana, please jump on because this is just too much fun.
Or don't.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah, really. Oh, and by the way, welcome Poland.
Yes.
Hey,
Right.
Poland can find us,
Yes.
but not Louisiana.
Yeah,
Way to
that's
go.
bad.
Which is
Yeah,
how much-
and also we got a shout out of a congratulations this week too, right?
Yes.
yes.
This is awesome.
Yeah. So, back in the Talladega Talk episode, we had posted, or we talked to our friend Scott Graves, who is the crew chief for Daniel Suarez's team, and they've had a good couple of weeks where he finished. Well, he got the pole a couple of weeks ago, finished second, and then last race, I believe it was last race, he finished fourth.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so Scott, congratulations, Scott. He earned his first. It's Moog Parts. It's a auto parts group, but it's a Moog Parts crew chief of the week, and so
That's awesome.
it's the extra mile crew chief of the week. So Scott, congratulations, man. We're really proud of you, and I know you all have been working hard, and hope this continues to bring more success for you, man.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Scott. That's great.
We are Hundo P
Yes.
behind you.
Yes.
Hundo P.
Since that was his teenage correspondent, we got to
That's
tell
right.
you
That's right.
that. Well, so cautiously pessimistic, bros. It has now been introduced to the
Yes,
world.
sir.
I'm proud of
Yeah.
that. I'm excited.
The cat is out of the bag now.
To
So it's out
It
there.
really has me looking forward to football season, and really hope that our listeners join in on the fun, because if you're like us Tech fans, you'll really appreciate this.
Really will. Gives you two reasons to be happy on a Saturday, so it's a good thing. So,
That's a good way to put it.
yes.
Good way to put it. And the cool thing is that if your secondary or backup team fails, just get a new one.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right. It's like, well, shut up.
They suck. Find somebody else.
Get back on the ESPN app, look for the top 25, and go to the next one down. It's all good. Learn a little bit about them, and there you go, more educated. So
There
it's
you
good.
go. Educated. It's all good.
That's right. Well, I'm going to say we have had a good episode, and I'm shutting her down.
Go for it.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, here we go. Full season into the fall. So, listen, Noel, Steve, it's been fun. Any last thoughts?
I'm ready for some football.
Yeah. Let's get some football season going here. So
That's right. I'm ready for some college game day. That is the mark to official football season for me. So bring it on. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, and we will talk to you all next time.
take care, guys.
Later.
Hey, thanks again for listening to the Testosterone Zone. We sure had a blast visiting with you. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe, leave us some feedback, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
All Testosterone podcast episodes are written and produced by Noel, Keith, and Steve, unless otherwise noted.
The opinions expressed in the Testosterone podcast are our own and not those of our employers, families, parents, kids, dogs, cats, your mom, or any other entity Noel, Keith, or Steve are affiliated with now, in the past, or in the future, or ever.